Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, on this week's episode of This Woman That Got on the Internet and Told Us All Information That We Either Didn't Ask For, didn't want to know, or already knew, Jada Pinkett Smith took to the internet in a interview and basically let the whole world know that her and Will Smith allegedly have been separated since like 2016. Now, like I said, nobody asked for this information. We did not want to know her business, but for whatever reason, she has put the entire world, the entire social media, everybody that logs on to anything, a part of this group chat, if you will, concerning all of their business, especially their marriage and their, relations life, if you get my drift. And we just want them to stop. We just want them to stop, that's all. But in the meantime, we have this information now that, like I said, we are privy to that we didn't want to be. And it has sparked some serious conversations online. Every time she comes out with some new information, because it's always her putting this stuff out there or getting caught up in entanglements, if you will. Every time she puts this information out there for the entire world to know, people divide themselves into two sides. They say, well, we don't think that Will Smith did anything wrong, or boo-hoo, poor Will Smith, this, that, and the other, that Jada's a horrible wife and she's raggedy and she deserves to be drugged by her edges to and fro all over social media for the rest of her days for being a harlot. And then you have the people that, for whatever reason are completely team Jada Pinkett Smith. They like to make up that phrase, which came out not only too long ago, when the entanglement, if you will, was going around talking about, well, she's Jada Pinkett, Smith, so she can do whatever she wants to do. And of course, you have the, two wrongs make a right crew, which I'll never get over that. I'll never understand that, and I'll never agree with that. Who only back Jada because they're like, well, all the women who get constantly cheated on and expected to stay in their relationships and get hurt and abused, and then they get talked about and drugged like a dog for sticking by their husband. Like, for some reason, they really get this sick-minded pleasure out of watching this man go through it, which is wrong. Like I said, it's sick-minded, and it reinforces that two wrongs make a right thing. Like, you shouldn't want something bad to happen to somebody just because they're a specific gender, just so you can get off on seeing it happen to somebody of that specific gender because it happened to somebody or happened to you, especially if the person has done nothing to you specifically. Then you have the other two wrongs make a right people that like to compare her of people to the opposite sex, to men basically, who are much worse just so that they can say, ha, we knew you raggedy heifers were like this, and then trying to use that to justify every negative, disrespectful, false stereotype that they want to believe about women. Let me reiterate, that's not true. That doesn't, go for the whole of women. That just applies to a few women. But like I said, whenever it comes to the Smiths, they love to divide themselves into two groups, like people often like to do on subjects that we really should not be divided on. And what I mean by that is, while people are going back and forth saying, oh, this is Jada's fault, or some people are saying, oh, this is Will's fault, I believe it's both of their faults. Now, just hear me out before you start throwing stones and disagreeing with me and drawing conclusions. I do believe it's both of their faults because we have to start from the beginning, like I often say in many of my videos on this channel. Whenever they first got together, there was a rumor, allegedly, that Jada Pinkett Smith was told that her career would go nowhere, essentially, unless she married Will Smith. Okay, he was already pretty established during that time anyways. He started as a rapper, had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was doing very well. His trajectory was going somewhere. Of course, she had her own things. She was in the movie Jason's Lyric and the show It's a Different World. But like I said, clearly we knew who was, going somewhere, so to speak. And that's no shade to Jada or anybody who likes her. But let's be honest, Will was the one that was going somewhere. Allegedly, she was told that, you should marry him because he will help you get somewhere career-wise or at least fame-wise. Now, I don't believe that she ever really wanted to marry Will Smith. And at this point, that should be quite obvious to everybody. She's only told the entire world every chance she could get to open her mouth about it that she's always like Tupac Shakur. End of story. What else does anybody need to say or know about that? You can't make me believe. You couldn't pay me enough money to believe that Will Smith didn't know this about her because, like I said, every time she gets the chance to open her mouth about it, she does. She lets the whole world know that she was in love with Tupac Shakur, that she wanted to be with him, and that a part of her deceased whenever he was deceased. But nonetheless, they got married, and now we're at this point, once again, where they're telling us all of their business and we didn't want to know it. She has shown people countless times, she has shown him countless times that she does not respect him as a man or a husband, that she will, whenever she gets the chance, embarrass him and publicly humiliate him. Why in the world he's still with her? I'll never understand that. People keep making it seem like, oh, boo-hoo, Will Smith, this, that, and the other. And at first, whenever this first started happening, and, it was pretty obvious how she felt or didn't feel, rather, towards him, I was like, wow, that's really raggedy. She's really raggedy. She's with Will Smith. She's with Will Smith. Are you kidding me? Come on now, lady. Act right, do better as a wife. But then as the years passed and I noticed that he was just determined to stay in a relationship with her despite all the goofy stuff that she done said and did. I know some fellas, after she would have said that she was still in love with Tupac Shakur while being married to them the first time, them fellas would have said, you know what, I'm going to just need you to go ahead and sign these divorce papers and I'm going to go ahead and head out of this relationship because you ain't about to disrespect me like that. You ain't about to do me like that. But he stayed and he continued to put up with that goofy mess year after year after year after year, decade after decade after decade after decade. Allegedly, he said out of his own mouth that he was determined to try and make her happy. He was going to do whatever he had to make her happy, whatever he had to do. But then I guess after so many years of not being able to do that, and it's not because he's not adequate enough, because he's more than adequate enough, but when you're giving all of yourself to the wrong person who's not going to appreciate it, or they just simply don't want it, it's never going to be enough for them. But like I said, whenever he realized he was never going to be able to do enough for her himself, I guess he just gave up on that. Like I said, allegedly, he just got to the point where he was like, well, I guess like if I can't make you happy, then just go be happy with somebody else. Do your happiness with somebody else, but we should stay in a relationship, in a married relationship, and have all these people thinking that we're in a married relationship, which was about as goofy as I don't know what. I mean, it really was. So at this point in time, despite what she said, because I feel like she told us, oh, well, they were separated since 2016, I guess to try and make sense of like why she's been doing what she's been doing, or maybe to get people to stop talking about her and dragging her, for sleeping around on him. But still, she's a raggedy for it because they're still married. At least to my knowledge. Like they might be separated, but to my knowledge and from what I can understand, they're still legally married. So that still makes her an adulterer. That still makes her raggedy. But like I said, so either she's saying this and she's not being 100% truthful, or she's saying this to save face, like I said, to make herself look better. And to further humiliate him, I guess to force him to try and divorce her finally. Finally, so she can be set free and put out of her marital misery, if you will, by being unmarried to him. And the funny part about her even saying that to begin with, some news reports are claiming and alleging that Will Smith was blindsided, and I quote, blindsided by her even saying that. I guess he just got surprised when he turned on the internet, and whenever we found out that they were separated back in 2016 is whenever he found out, allegedly, according to him. Or at least allegedly, he didn't want her to put that information out there, and he was blindsided by the fact that she did. But why even be if it's the truth? If the shoe fits, wear it. If the combat boot fits, wear it. If the shiny Oxford shoe fits, wear it. I would never say that Will Smith deserves to be cheated on or disrespected or abused by his wife because he won't let go of the marriage, because he wants to hold on to her, because he wants to stay married to her. Although there are consequences for holding on to a marriage that's not working. That's with a person that refuses to be loyal to you, that refuses to be committed to you, that refuses to do the right thing towards you publicly and privately. And I honestly believe that it's not just him wanting to hold on to the marriage and hold on to her because he wants to be with her so badly. It's also because I believe they wanted to present themselves as this pro-black united front, this, power couple, black power couple, if you will. And that can't work unless they're together, unless they're married, unless all of the garbage that's going on in their personal lives, that's going on in Jada's personal life, stays hidden and they remain, like I said, this front. I've been said in one of my previous videos that their relationship was a sham. So this came as no surprise to me. But like I said, to hold on to the relationship knowing good and goddamn well it's failing and they don't need to be with each other, that the relationship probably wasn't even based off of the right things, at least by one person, this entire time, And once again, to make themselves look like this black power couple that they are not, that they have never been and never will be, because God is not at the center of their relationship. Heck, they don't even believe in God. It's really ridiculous. And quite frankly, it spits in the face of the institution of marriage that God made, because God did not make marriage for two people who were clearly too incompetent to be married, to get into a relationship, embarrass each other, make each other look bad, and then make marriage look bad. You cannot have your cake and stuff your face with it too. And that goes the same for rich people, famous people, celebrities. If you're gonna be married, be married. If you're gonna have a marriage, do it the right way. You don't get to say, oh, after X amount of years, sometimes we just grow apart and, things get tough. So we just decided to be separated, and then low key make excuses for you being a cheating spouse, a cheating wife, a cheating husband, whoever you are, because you don't want to be faithful, you don't want to be loyal, you don't want to go to therapy, or just admit that you don't actually love the person enough to do the right thing, and you didn't to begin with, and that you really should just call it quits. I would rather you do it right or not do it at all. You don't get to, like I said, sit up and call yourself a married couple while you're out here dippling and dabbling, if you will, in other men's you-know-whats, while also calling yourself a married individual. No ma'am, no sir. And once again, this sends a very negative message out to other people. People are going to think, and they're going to be justified in feeling like this is an acceptable way to do marriage. Or if you fall out of it with your spouse, if you don't really love them anymore, you can just go and, have a little thing, a little entanglement, if you will, with somebody else, and just come on right back instead of actually getting a divorce and doing the right thing. No, it's not an acceptable way to do marriage. It's a raggedy way to do marriage. It's called cheating. It's called adultery. It's called raggediness. As a matter of fact, they probably already messed it up for their kids. That's why I said that my heart goes out to the children first and foremost, because they didn't ask to be brought in this hot pot of hot mess, but they did it anyways. They brought these kids into this mess anyways. Their own daughter, Willow Smith, allegedly said she wants a polygamous relationship. First of all, what in the world does she even know about a polygamous relationship? Unless she saw her parents try, not really, and fail at having a monogamous one. But, oh, that's right, didn't really have a monogamous one because they were bringing people left and right into it. So now she has no absolute idea of what a non-toxic, functional, healthy-minded relationship between two people, a man and a woman, monogamous, even looks like, because she never saw it in her parents to begin with. God help those poor children. Now, once again, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming Will Smith for being cheated on. What I am saying, it was ridiculous of him to stay, knowing good and well he could have walked away at any point in time. As a matter of fact, he could have showed his children, his son especially, how you handle relationships where women don't take you seriously, where women don't treat you right, where women don't value you. You don't stay in the relationship and continuously let them abuse and embarrass you. You walk away. If they don't want to be married to you anymore, you give them what they want, the divorce, and you move on with your life with somebody else who will appreciate you. But see, that was taken from his son because he didn't make the right decisions. I'm going to say this once again. If Will Smith walked away from Jada Pinkett Smith today and got a divorce, it wouldn't make him any less of a man. He'd still be Will Smith. He'd still be an A-list actor. He'd still have all of him. He wouldn't be any less than what he is right now. And once again, it could even be empowering to the young men who are being taken advantage of, to the young men who are good, the good young men out there that are in relationships that are toxic, where the women are taking advantage of them. It could have been an empowering thing to see, but once again, he chose to stay in that relationship. Everybody always says when it's a woman being cheated on constantly, they say, listen, don't let a man have to tell you twice. Don't let a man have to show you twice that he does not care about you. At that point, you know what's right to do for you. Walk away, save your peace. The same thing needs to be told to this man. Walk away, save your peace. Don't let her have to show you twice how she really feels about you. And there's some more that I'd like to dive deeper into that on the podcast. I won't do it on here because I'm not trying to get a YouTube strike, and I don't think YouTube is ready for that conversation. But if you're ready for that conversation, you can hear it on my podcast right on Patreon under the same name my YouTube channel is under. $3 a month. Shameless plug. But anyways, also, she put out there, like I said, for some odd reason, I don't know why to this day, that Will Smith got up in the middle of the Oscars and once again embarrassed himself by slapping Chris Rock across the face while he was doing his job, mind you, was because allegedly, like I said, according to Jada Pinkett, is because somewhere along the line, whenever the divorce rumors about them were going on, because I do remember back, I think before the 2020s, if you will, there were a lot of rumors being thrown around that they were going to get a divorce, but of course they didn't, clearly, or they're just separated. But when those rumors were going around, Chris, actually thought that that was true and basically tried to holla, if you will. Like I said, this is what she's alleging. This ain't come out of Yoshi Entertainment's mouth. This came out of Jada Pinkett's mouth. She was trying to allege that he was trying to holler at her, I guess, trying to get with her, if you will. And she basically told him, nah, bro, we ain't divorced. And he was like, oh, well, excuse me. And he backed off. Now, do I think it was right for him to, try to holler? Not really, because weren't they all supposed to be friends? But at the same time, at least he was respectful enough to say, okay, well, if y'all are not divorcing, then, I'll back off. But if he would have said, oh, well, who cares about that? What does he mean anyways? You don't even like him. You done told everybody that, then that would have been really shady. But like I said, at least he backed off after she said, no, we ain't getting no divorce, whatever. She was alleging that that was why Will slapped Chris. I guess the whole G.I. Joe, G.I. Jane comment joke, if you will, was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, according to all of them. But I don't know if I'm really here for that excuse either. Because allegedly, word on the street, hot off the press, if you will, is that he said blatantly that he did not try to holler, that was absolutely ridiculous. And he even flipped it and said, keep his name out of her mouth, because that was goofy for her to say, and that those allegations basically were a load of hogwash. But, y'all can decide who y'all would rather believe in that situation. Now, of course, I couldn't pass up the chance to talk about something that's been going around, if you will, on the internet. A lot of people were saying, oh, she's always up here cheating on him and he's being loyal to her, etc., etc. Now, are we really going to gloss over those allegations? Cough, cough, Dwayne Morton, cough, cough. So we really want to take it there. Because, we don't really always know what be going on with a lot of these celebrities. Just because they don't say it like, how Jada Pinkett does, or they don't just, have their cake and eat it too, like I said, and it just gets splooshed all sloppily because they're moving sloppily all over the internet, doesn't mean that they're not out here being sloppy. Allegedly. But anyways, that'll be on the podcast too, if y'all want to take a listen. But what I will say is, because, I hope y'all didn't think I was going to say all of what I said about Jada and not say what I had to about Will. What I will say is, what else do you expect somebody to do? How else do you expect somebody to act when it's been made blatantly clear that they did not want to be with you? They did not want to be in a relationship with you. You knew this and you still chose to force the relationship anyways. I'm not saying, once again, let me make this blatantly clear. That means that he deserved to be cheated on. But once again, he knew this woman did not want him. He knew that this woman was still in love with the late Tupac Shakur. He knew this, and he still even admitted it, allegedly, in his book, that he tried to force this relationship to happen. He even allegedly admitted he wasn't the best husband or father at some points in time in their relationship. And also allegedly admitted that he cheated too. But for some reason, Jada's always the one, we have to admit, receiving the backlash for being a cheating spouse. So not only was he out here allegedly doing the same stuff that she was doing, allegedly, he also refused to put this relationship to rest, knowing good and well that it was not working, was not going to work, was not meant to be. And instead of accepting that, he decided to be delusional and try to force it to happen. Which is why I am baffled when people say, oh, boo-hoo, Will, she keeps embarrassing him. No, at this point, he's embarrassing himself. But anyways, once again, this bullcrap that we're watching play out, unravel, unfold between the two of them on national television, all over social media, both of them had their hands in this. Y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel. Down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a blessed day.